Americans are finally turning frugal after splurging over the summer. I'm always splurging over the summer. Oh, I saw this opinion article in the Financial Times. Should we believe Americans when they say the economy is bad? In an increasingly polarized and performative society, vibes are now often trumping objective reality. And the bit here is basically like, hey, Americans, why are you saying the economy is bad? It's good, actually. Look at the line. The line's doing good. Why are you saying the line's doing bad when the line's doing good? You can't afford a house? Okay, you could buy a house in rural, like, Wisconsin for $5. So what's the problem? What's the problem? You know, it's like that kind of vibe. And I was going to go through all of it and explain about how a lot of this information is misleading and how people like this are pieces of shit, but I don't even want to now. I yelled too much about the tech thing and now my throat hurts. And my genes are too cussy for me to get mad that many times in one stream. I need to be chill. Know my worth. There are so many of these kinds of articles, Vaush. Yeah, because it's mostly like it is the purview of neoliberals to gaslight, right? Like this is like, you know, this is like you know, Thatcher, Reagan, Tony Blair, whatever. It's their job to look at you and say like, hey, you know, I mean, Hillary Clinton, you know, America was already great. Look at these lines. The economy's doing great. Look at the GDP. The economy's doing great. Who cares what you're experiencing, you know? And they point to data and they'll do like the facts over feels thing and they'll be like, logically, actually, the GDP growth for Q3 was just revised from an already scorching 4.9% to 5.2%. And be like, well, you feel like you have to hold down 2 jobs in order to afford 1/4 of the place that you share with your roommates, but you know. Look at this smarmy piece of shit. Public is up in arms about economic conditions. There really is no pleasing some people. I know what you're thinking. Inflation explains all of this. Well, no, actually. Extending an original analysis by, and notably here, they say X user, Quantian1. I've calculated expected consumer sentiment for a set of countries based on their underlying economic indicators. That's right. This guy made his own goddamn data. I trust him. It seems U.S. consumer sentiment is becoming the latest victim of expressive responding, where people give incorrect answers to questions to signal wider tribal, political, or social affiliations. How autistic do you have to be to run polling on people and their level of, like, consumer confidence and to be like, they're actually virtue signaling when they answer my economic polling question over the phone directly. They're actually signaling to the people in their lives of their virtue in being discontent at the moment. Unlike cautious Europeans, U.S. consumers are back on the pre-pandemic trend line and buying more stuff than ever. He's insinuating there's an incorrect answer in a fucking poll. Well, yeah, he's saying it doesn't line up with the data. To be fair, Vaush, econ sentiment flips when party and power changes. Yes, that's true, but that's not tribal virtue signaling. That's people legitimately thinking it's gotten worse. They can be wrong. Like, you can argue that their beliefs there are like flippant and arbitrary, but that's not the same as saying they're virtue signaling. This is an insane claim. Like, if a Republican suddenly started believing that the economy is bad because Obama just won, and they like responded as such in a poll, my first assumption would not be, oh, this guy's virtue signaling to the poll question asker. My first thought would be, oh, this guy's a dumbass. Like that, like, yeah, what? It's such a weird thing to jump to, you know? It's a very, like, Ben Shapiro way of answering, too, where it can't just be like, you know, a person believes that and is misguided. It has to be, well, they're virtue signaling, they're tribal associations to others. Very stupid. It is definitely true, though, that U.S. consumer spending has been doing a lot better than a lot of other countries. You know, we Americans are privileged in this sense, at least. In, like, other first world European countries, they have plummeted, man. Like, you can look up their GDP or their consumer spending and, like, a bunch of numbers, you know? And after the pandemic, they did not recover the way we did, you know? See, this is what he's claiming here, that actual versus expected for America is like wildly divergent. I mean, look at the UK here, you know? The UK isn't even a real country anymore, you know? It's all Thunderdome shit. Obviously, in terms of like direct experiences, I'm a little bit off the grid, what with me being a multi-billionaire from the streaming thing. But in terms of like people's day-to-day, I think that spending is up. The problem is that people feel incredibly insecure about the fundamentals they're spending on. For one, groceries are crazy expensive now compared to what they were pre-pandemic. And for two, like housing is really expensive. For three, America doesn't really offer much in the way of social services compared to other first world nations. So, I think it's like only 50% of working Americans have corporate sponsored health insurance, meaning that like for the other half, if you get, any kind of injury or sickness or whatever, you just go to the ER and get like perma bankrupted. That's like a fun experience you get to have because the bar for like Medicare and Medicaid can be, pretty restrictive. Don't forget rent increases every year. Yeah, rent increases seem to have quieted down a little bit for now as compared to what they were doing back in 2021 or 2022. The ultimate problem is the feeling of instability. Even if spending is up, people are spending while feeling like their housing and their food situations and their medical coverage experience are incredibly like unsteady. You know what I mean? That's the main issue. And that hasn't changed. Like homelessness is still on the rise, drug addiction's on the rise. There are so many indicators of unwellness, social and economic, that are hidden there. I feel like food costs have skyrocketed. They have, yeah, for sure. Food costs are not the problem. Profit margin on food. Well, yes, they hike the trend. Yeah. Good boy. Oh, you're so fat. Size and shape. Look, okay? Cotton fibers are like Reuben. They're stretchy and purring heavily.
You display out your hand a little more. No, like
So,
you want to hold them so that your hands are like this on either side of them. But that's gonna be hard. Yeah, there you go.
there you go, okay? Like
Close
Reuben.
enough.
He's purring.
Yeah, usually you hold them on the top of your hand to do
Yeah.
the thing they do at the shows.